lighting? Not too bad. Okay, this is a quick walk around video of our new Opus 2 sleeper. It's a US spec model, and we didn't find a lot of stuff on the internet about this thing before we bought it, so I thought I'd put together a quick video and show you around and let you know exactly what the features of this thing really are. So let's go ahead and start in the back. You see we've got the shower room packed up right now. The back, there's a shower room that pops down. It's huge. The hot water shower comes right out the back. We'll show you that when we get to the other side. Storage all around. These latches are all keyed alike. That's pass-through storage there too, so if you had a big awning or something, you could put it through there. This is the kitchen. Propane connections and water connections are down below. Cutting board here. There's a nice little leg that holds the cutting board up so it keeps it level. There's also a stabilizer leg for the kitchen. However, if you look at the rollers that this thing are on, they're fabricated rollers. It'll hold all the weight in the world. So you need those to level it, that leg to level it out, but it isn't absolutely necessary to keep it going. 4-burner stove, and this is one thing we didn't realize, is that these burners are actually different sizes. This one here in the corner is a huge burner. It's something like an 18,000 BTU burner. The ones in the back are both big enough to boil water, and then this one in the front is more of a warming or kind of a sauteing sort of a thing. Then you've got water over here on the inflatable models. You just get one temperature of water to the sink through this hose, either hot or cold. Not both hot and cold, so that's not a mixer valve. We are thinking about putting that in later on. Also, you've got a nice little light here. It's just 12 volt that plugs in over on the side. You've got your silverware drawer here. One quick gripe is the butter knives are too long to fit into the appropriate spot, so we're gonna either have to find some different butter knives or find something to do there. IKEA is your friend also. More storage here. We just keep our cutting boards and our pot holders, sponge, that kind of stuff in there. I'm going to skip the power distribution center just for a second, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Here is the pantry. Now this was the thing that was probably the most exciting to us. You've got all kinds of drawers. This one down here at the bottom, all of them lock using these just push down levers. One of the coolest features is this top drawer that actually slides backwards. So if you have it closed, it slides backwards and locks so that you have access to your pots and pans area as far as that goes. Dometic 50-quart fridge over here. It's a 12-volt model. There's a lot of storage there. One of the things to note is that this thing is not tied down. We're actually going to get some tie downs and tie it down so that it doesn't bounce around when we're off road. Although this thing rides so darn smooth that it hasn't really been an issue to this point. And I think we've towed it somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 miles so far, so not super far. You can see it's kind of been dirty because we have been off road. Down here you've got your propane tanks. It has 2 propane tanks and then 2 jerry can holders up front. One of the things to note here is that it doesn't have a diverter valve for dual propane tanks. That's just a single regulator. What we do is we actually use the second propane tank for our Blackstone griddle because I'm sort of addicted to that thing. Okay, and up here in the front you've got your lock and roll articulating hitch. Total game changer. If you don't have one of these, you need one. They're absolutely fantastic on whatever trailer that you're going to pull. We've actually had this thing is already at some pretty extreme angles. It makes zero noise. It's a fantastic product, and no, they didn't pay me to say that. Another thing that's really unique about this trailer, off-road trailers often have this, but other types of travel trailers don't, is it has a handbrake right there that you can see, and a jockey wheel. One small gripe is that the jockey wheel doesn't actually go up quite far enough for my taste. I'd like to be go a little higher, but other than that, it's not a big deal. So, just a quick one spy on the tow vehicle here. Tow vehicle is a 2018 Jeep JL Wrangler Rubicon, outfitted with rock crawler 2.5-inch springs, King 2.5-inch bypass shock, not bypass, but remote reservoir shocks, and Nitto Ridge Grappler 37-inch tires. Okay, back on this side. More storage here. Again, these are slide outs. One of the things to note on this trailer is that every surface inside has a cushion, and you can see we've actually got some of them back here because you just don't need that many cushions. When we get home, we're going to decide which ones we need to take with us on the road. We keep all of our camping gear over here in this box, and in this one we're using it as a pantry. We're going to do some different things. We're going to the container store today. We're going to get some different types of pantry containers and so forth to make it a little easier to get in and out of the dry goods. Okay, 32-inch tires on this guy. Roof rack. This roof rack, when I first saw this, I didn't know what the heck was going on. It's because it cantilevers over the top of the trailer when it's closed, and it's held in place by, it's assisted by gas struts. Makes it really easy to get it up and down. We'll actually leave some of our folding chairs and folding tables right on it and fold it up and fold it down, and it's really no problem as far as that goes. Here's where all the magic happens back here. These are the valves. I'll do a video at a different time on pack up and setup. But there's 5 valves back here that control the whole thing. Okay, back here you've got your Zamp solar plug right here. And we use a Zamp 140 watt portable solar panel, which we keep in the Jeep. It's got a built-in regulator. You've got your shore power, 30 amp shore power connection here. That'll charge the batteries, and there's a couple of outlets inside that'll run as well. This is a good place to show you sort of what the jack situation looks like. These are the stabilizer jacks. They use a 3/4 inch socket. You can use a drill, or they can include a hand, like a star wrench, to do this as well. Also, this is one of your outside propane and water connections. You could hook up a hose or another portable sink or something over here, but it also it has the quick connect for the propane, which is for the hot water heater, which is right here. And I've got the shower tent hanging up here, so it's hard to see inside there. But you've got your basic hot water unit there, outside shower on the back. So the bottom line of the equation here is this tankless hot water system will burn you out. We have it on almost the lowest setting for heat that you can get, and it is warm. It really gets hot. So if you like hot water, you have unlimited hot water. Speaking of that, underneath you've got 2 20-gallon stainless steel hot water tanks. It's not hot water, but water tanks, as well as so 40 gallons total capacity, as well as the independent suspension with dual shocks on each wheel. I'll tell you this, I've been towing around a little adventure trailer that I've built for about the last 3 years, and it's got leaf springs on it. Even though it's a lot lighter than this rides so much smoother. It's absolutely unbelievable how much smoother it is. On the back, you also have a spare tire. I'll show you a little bit more of that when we do a walk around with the top deflated and down. Let's see what else for features here. I think that's just about it for the outside of the trailer. Again, the big game changers here: the 4-burner stove, the outside sink, the pantry. Now, if you guys are looking at a 2-sleeper versus a 4-sleeper, this is the 2-sleeper model. The 2-sleeper has the bed on the front only, and it's about a king-size bed, whereas the 4-sleeper has the 2 beds, one on either end. The big difference from a storage perspective is that on the 4-sleeper, you do not get this pantry. So you lose that whole section of storage to get that other bed. The box on this one, as far as the sleeping box, the living box, is actually shorter on the 2-sleeper, but you gain that storage. So if you regularly only have 2 or 3 people to sleep, the 2-sleeper is a much better option. Also, towing down the highway, the Jeep with stock 410 gears and the 37-inch tires, it'll tow it at about 15 to 17 miles per gallon in the flats in 6th or 7th gear out of 8. If we re-gear, I think we could probably do a little bit better than that. but it's doing pretty well as far as that goes. We've had it, of the 500 miles we towed it, about 100 miles of that have been off-road. It has definitely exceeded expectations from that perspective. Now, there are a couple of little things that we would change, and most of those are inside. So when I do an inside walkthrough here a little bit later, I'll talk about those. But from the external perspective, the only one thing that I would change is right here. I would actually have a way to lock this kitchen open. It actually locks closed very well with pins, with the pin situation, but I would love it to actually lock open. But that's really my only big gripe with the exterior of this thing. It does a really, really, really good job. One of the things that I will also point out is that we originally opted to get the annex, but then we backed out of the annex. There's an air annex that attaches to this thing. You cannot leave the annex on the two-sleeper attached when you do your pack down. You have to take it off. The thing weighs about 70 pounds, and in order to put it on, you actually have to inflate and deflate this thing twice to get the annex on. And it takes your setup time from about 90 seconds to about 7 to 9 minutes for that second inflation, because the annex has so many air tubes on it. It's sort of a thing. Okay, so let's end with the power distribution panel, which is the heart of the matter here. So what you've got here, you've got your freshwater tanks, got tank 1, tank 2, your battery indicator here as far as the amount of battery remaining, your amperage draw here, the number of volts. This button here, and I'll push that in a second, actually does the inflation. The 10 inflates to about 6.5 psi, and it stops when it gets there. You've got push to reset circuit breakers, so you'd have to screw around with a bunch of fuses. Main power cutoff here. All your pumps, and oh, I shouldn't have done that because I had one of the valves open next door. But your pumps are here, lights, the plugs inside. So what that is are your USBs and your 12-volt cigarette lighter accessories on the inside. There are 4 USB ports and 2 12-volt cigarette lighter ports. This is the one for the fridge. It also does the fridge fan, which there's a fan that will recirculate air inside the refrigerator compartment in case it's really hot outside. This one's for the heater. We actually don't have the heater installed in this unit. It's about a $2,000 option, and it just wasn't really worth the extra storage space. We'll just take a portable catalytic heater and actually have a tent heater along just in case we need it. But at night when you're out of a sleeping bag, you never know the difference. If you're in really, 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 really cold weather, it might be a good idea to get that heater option as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and push this button. You can see it draws at quite a few amps. This thing draws about 15 amps, takes the voltage down as well. We've got a little bit of a leak in one of our, not on one of our tubes, but one of the valves isn't all the way tight. We just had to isolate it and figure out which one it is. It hasn't made a difference in the function of the unit, so I haven't spent a lot of time looking for it, but it just means that in the morning we have to push the button and it takes about 30 seconds or so to repressurize itself and stabilize the air tubes. So you see it just stops on its own. That's about it, guys. If you have any questions for me, just go ahead and put those down below. If you don't mind hitting that like and subscribe button. We're actually going to do a whole series of videos on our adventures. If you already follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you know that we are sort of everywhere all the time, not just out in the off-road trailer or with the Jeep, but also we travel a lot internationally and nationally. We do both off-road travel as well as city travel. You can see we're actually in a campground today near Crater Lake, Oregon. So thanks so much for watching. Hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see you out on the trail.